sound, hooking railing hits. Ain't gotta lay it, sink it down. Big pulls, be the ones they pitch around. These hits never hit the ground. I need a triple crown. Let's try a bigger mound. We weigh about a pound, living on our own set. The boxes still get broken down. Underway, it's outward bound. We can't never find a chase. It must be out of town. Late night rips, slaving cars into evening gowns. Ain't nothing in the world like that first hit. You would never stand if you ain't never read. If the market's correct, that's when we buy the dip. As a result, got a whole plate full of chips. Imagine when I rip, I'm feeling magic like voila. We gon' be ripping until mañana. It's in the hobby like Dangala, no birthday. I put more hits than pinatas. Straight to mi casa and nose dive like piazza. Gems is what the print read, like the cheese head. They create bread or a bench press, but at least it shows a team press. First, well, first class views of these hits, like Piazza. That'd be crazy. First hit, it's kind of like my first play. What's going on, World Order Collectibles? I'm good, man. We good. Everybody smooth. Can't complain, brother. Everybody smooth, man. Thanks for joining. Sam will be on shortly. Our Sam will be on shortly. Our oh no, y'all can't hear me. There we go. There we go. There we go. What's up, everybody? What's up? World Order. Thanks for stopping by, y'all. Sam will be in shortly. As y'all know, as we all know, our schedules, we try to be prompt with everything, but the way the kids work and the family work, that's always going to prioritize everything. So right now, Sam has to prioritize the family. You know what I'm saying? So y'all kicking it with me in the meantime, in between time. You feel me? How y'all doing this morning, though? My kids gonna run up in here too. That's just part of the game. I always tell my kids when I'm in here doing anything, they're more than welcome to come in and bother me and bug me, annoy me, whatever word they want to describe it as. Please come give me that love. I never want them to feel like anything I got going on in here is more important than them. You feel me? I'm trying to see the 101. Now we living never giving up. Ripping through these packs till my hands is numb. You trying to be the one, I'm trying to see the 101. Skybox views. Box got more flavors than high chew. We the who's who. I'm about to try something though while I'm here. I got a second screen jumping off, and I'm gonna see if I can actually figure out how to share my screen. Because if I can figure out how to share my screen, we're gonna have some fun. We're gonna learn together. We're gonna do a lot. Let's see. Share. Um Top boy, money to mind them. That's an 8 piece. Better days, now we living for never giving up. Oh, game over. I done figured out how to click and click. I done figured out how to click and click. And my hands is numb. I'm trying to be the one. I'm trying to see the 101. I just snipe and aim. Y'all is chasing fame. All you do complain. All the rip. So when Sam get on here, we gonna talk about a lot today. but we wanted to packs trying to rip his back to back to back. That break, man. All right, bam. Ooh, I got a screen here and a screen there now. You know what I'm talking about? And I figured out how to make them coexist and link together right here. So yeah, when Sam get on here, we're gonna do a lot of catching up first and foremost. See how each other doing, what's new, what's the word, you know what I mean? And then we're gonna get into some history as it pertains to the hobby. And we're gonna take our time. We're not gonna go too far back. This is just where we're gonna start. We're gonna start with 1890 or around that time period because there's certain cards and people which we can bring up that are still relevant in today's times in some shape, form, or fashion. Ziggy, what's up with the guy, man? Hope you and the fam doing well. Hope everybody's doing smooth. Now they label this a fire zone, hobby to the moon. I can't wait to get my pilot on. But this is the American Tobacco Company right here, ATC. Old school ATC, founded by JB Duke in 1890. Um, this ain't even what I'm looking for though. This isn't even what I want. What I really wanted was this guy. Yes. Hey, tell. Print answer. Baby better days, now we living up. One strike, one won't fall, never giving up. Ripping through these packs, and my hands is numb. I'm trying to be the one, I'm trying to see the 101. Back out choice. Oh la 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 All right, so this is Duke. I wanted to start here before ATC, and when Sam get on, like I said, we're gonna take our time with this. I've I've looked over stuff a lot, you know what I mean, but it's always a refresher. I always like to look over it over and over again and see what I've missed and see what's changed today, right? Because things change today. Things that change today that may have happened, things that are happening today that may have happened back then. Hold on, cuz what's up with it, bro? Yeah, bro. I didn't even. I stayed. I didn't even go out of town. You talking about Slowby? Yeah, that hurt me, bro. I ain't gonna lie. That hurt me. Yeah, that hurt me. Yeah, bruh. Yeah, that's what I was telling Marky. That's the first one that hurt me in a while. Like that you don't usually I be numb or I ignore it, but that's the first one that I was like, damn, that hurt. That hurt. But hey, bro, I'm gonna hit you right back. I'm on this little YouTube thing. I'm gonna hit you when I'm done with it. All right, bro. I was my cousin, my cousin. We all grew up together in the same home for over a decade, so we brothers. But he was calling me because it's this artist from the Bay Area, this young artist. I don't even think he's 21, maybe 21, who was murdered yesterday or the day before yesterday. Talented kid. So uh, that's my cousin just calling to talk about that one right there. But yeah, back to the Duke, back to James and Benjamin Duke. ATC, American Tobacco Company. The reason why I feel like this is important, an important place to start or to look at, not even to start, just to look at and observe and study in the hobby, because you can see right here it says Duke consolidated control of his four major competitors under one corporate entity, the ATC, which was a monopoly as he controlled over 90% of the American cigarette market. All right. So um we've seen several monopolies in the hobby. Matter of fact, if you take this date, 1890, and you average out every 18 to 25 years, you'll see a shift and change in control for the most part in the hobby, every 18 to 25 years, in a similar, some shape, form, or fashion, a similar form of monopoly. But the monopoly started in 1890, right? But it was broke down, I believe, in 1910 or 1911 with the Antitrust Act, if I'm not mistaken. Like I said, I don't remember any of this stuff by heart, but I've looked at it a lot. Yeah, 1911. So people started kicking up dust like, hold on, man, they're a monopoly. They own. Let me see if I could find all of the tobacco companies they own. Here we go. All right, that's a tobacco trust. Can y'all see that? I hope y'all can see that. I hope it's large on y'all screen. Let me see. Large on y'all screen. What does that do? That's a hat trick. So the ATC had William Duke and Sons, Allen and Genter, Kimball, Kinney, Goodwin Company, and many, many more too. That wasn't it. There was also Reynolds, Liggett and Myers, Lori Lard, right? And the monopoly became a oligopoly. All right. So pretty much they said, you, these four people, y'all can't own everything. Y'all got to break it down. So to my understanding of the two, nothing changed. They just had to break down their monopoly, right? They had to break it down into smaller entities. So they didn't own. It didn't look like they owned everything, but they still owned everything. The definition is a market structure in which a market or industry is dominated by a small number of larger sellers or producers. So instead of it being dominated by a large number of smaller sellers or producers, it's dominated by a small number of larger sellers or producers. So they just switched the words around, but the same people are still getting the money. You know what I mean? You got to pay attention to stuff like that. And during this time, uh, there was a couple other competitors. There was a Leaf America. There was a Leaf company, not the same Leaf companies as we know to today, but there was a Leaf. Top speed, stay at high speed. Exactly what the hobby needs. They're running parallel. I'll keep on playing the same song. This is my favorite song though. But I had to pair the sale. The way you make me feel. Now the reason why I like starting from here, I like starting from further back too, but specifically in 1890, I have some cards. I have some postage stamp cards, tobacco cards, trading cards, whatever you want to call them, from this time period, right? And we have of images of slaves on there. If we do learn from the past, we will continue to do the same over and over. Yeah, if we don't learn, yeah, both can be true. If we do learn from the past and if we don't learn from the past, right? I feel like both can be true. That's real. That's real. And I like looking at it because then you can see what's been missing for the entire time. You know what I mean? So from 1890 to 2022, I can only speak from my experience. No, I can do a whole lot more, but I'm only going to speak from my experience, how I feel, what I see, and those similarities and things like that. So from 1890 to today, the African American, the black male, female have only been important on a card, right? There's images of slaves, several images of slaves on cards. It's not like it was anything hidden. or anything like that. I own several of them. Picking cotton, Zulu mail, plantation mail. I mean, they're intentional about what these cards are the narrative that they're delivering. You know what I mean? So, and of course, they're telling a story. These are things that are happening. This is history. A lot of the first trading cards, even long before this in the 1700s, were that of maps of war, right? Or people drawing various different things. So it's always a lot of truth and history and facts behind many of these early cards because they were telling you exactly what was going on during that time. So here we go again. We're important on these cards. They want everybody to know that we're important for this specific. You know what I'm saying? Um, Service right here, slavery and whatnot. Um, and then in between time, in the meantime, and it's cool too. I think it's not cool, but what's raw is there was some tobacco. This is a cotton field, obviously, but there are also tobacco plantations. The same tobacco plantations where this tobacco was grown or harvested and picked. There were slaves on these tobacco fields as well too. Um, this specific gentleman has a movie, Nat Turner. There's a movie out about him, and he was actually born on a tobacco field in Virginia. And there was a lot of prominent tobacco fields in North Carolina and Virginia, which were owned by William Duke and Sons and Company and several other tobacco companies and manufacturers, people who manufactured these cards and things back then. A lot of these cards were manufactured in New York. The lithography was done in New York. A lot of them, even though the tobacco fields and plantations were down south. A lot of the printing and things like that. I'm pretty sure I don't know where the original artwork was done, but a lot of the printing was done up north. I wish I had my board flipped. Um, but yeah, Nat Turner was actually born on and this is, I don't want people to get confused with Nat Turner in Collectors Universe, PSA, Collectors Holdings, and all that, Golden, and all that stuff. This is Nat Turner. It could be relation. They actually could be related because Nat Turner got his name from his slave owner, Benjamin Turner. So they're in a long stretch. It could be, I mean, I'm pretty sure there are several Turners, but hey, who knows? I'm not going to dig that far into it. But Nat Turner, as we know him, he was born on a tobacco plantation. This is a fact in Virginia. All right, so this popped up because I was trying to research his son Riddick and seeing if his son Riddick um, would have happened to be on any of these plantations in later on, or maybe Riddick's. I heard Riddick had a lot of kids too. If Riddick's kids worked on any of these plantations, trying to find some history and see if I can track down anybody specifically, whether information online in a book or reach out to somebody who may have some more knowledge around slaves on these tobacco plantations. There is some language online that I have found. I didn't pull it up here, but I have found some language around workers on these same slaves working on these same plantation fields for sure. Um, so that's always cool right there, man. So we was gonna break that down for a little bit. I think enough. Let me see the same song going on again. Let me change this song. Attach your comments and rockets from a lodge. Love the high because it got no rules. Saying girl got pulled. What's this? Um, the scary part is there are still to this day tobacco farms. Now they all have legal immigrants working for low pennies. Yeah, Facts, facts, facts. Farmers will call it. Yeah, yeah. There's a lot of that still going on all across the globe for sure, and especially right here on our homeland. Um, yeah, this is fact. That's what I'm saying. All this stuff has been going on for so long, still going on, um, because it's been ignored. I don't feel enough people have spoke out on it. We just have to retell these stories. There's importance to them all. They matter to somebody, and they tell a story of where we at today, and they repeat. I mean, if you there's a quote, I gotta find it, but there's a quote that Duke made about. Hold on, let me look on my board. I erased it, but there's a quote. There's a quote that Duke made back in the early 1900s about monopolizing and scaling up, and it was crazy because when Michael Rubin was interviewed, I believe it was CNN or I don't know which news platform it was, but he was interviewed. He had made pretty much word for word quote about scaling up in the same way that uh, Duke and Sons and them was talking about it in the same manner. And as you see the way Fanatics has came in and modified the game, they're scaling up in the same way. So history is repeating itself. It's been done a few other times in between now and back then, more of a smaller scale. Um, but that's that for that right there, man. That for joining in again. Sam gonna get in when Sam get in. We might run this back and get a double time going. Speaking of double time, another thing we was gonna talk about today was this. I don't know if anybody had a chance to go check this out. Um, there is overtime. Overtime has a show on YouTube on their YouTube channel, and the reason why it's dope to me is because so we got Prism Guy, man. This is I'm just gonna keep it 100. I probably wouldn't be watching this if it wasn't for Prism God on here. Not to say it'd still be based on the content that they have, and I'm gonna give this show several flowers. Shout out Sam, Overtime Sam, who's supported RPS, who's shown his love for RPS for sure over the years. But Prism God, man, I always if I don't mention this guy's name every single time I'm live, then I'm not honoring the hobby the way I'm supposed to, right? I feel like Prism God for me personally was somebody who I looked at in the hobby before I started creating content, before we started doing any kind of content creation, when I was just a collector and I would just observe. I didn't know the hobby had a social media platform that was popping. I don't even know if it was popping before the pandemic. You know what I mean? But I do know that Prism God existed, and I was following him because I've been collecting forever. So I was following Prism God for a while, and him and all his partners, and then just loving the way they navigate and maneuver and travel and blend into the hobby and make it look so fun. And given all the challenges and obstacles that they have to overcome, being blacks, African Americans in this space at the same time, man, they do it with dignity and grace and integrity. And it's just inspiration and motivation to see him to be able to pick up my phone and see him doing positive things everywhere he goes, right? And then also just to finally, what I feel, finally start seeing just some of the places we should be seeing PG, man. PG should be all over the hobby. Every single card company should be hiring PG as a consultant to come in and diversify, add equity stance. And if it's not PG, they should be hollering at Wiz. They should be hollering at Erica. They should be hollering at Tanya. They should be hollering at Angela. They should be talking to people who are familiar with these situations, right? In the workplace, in reality, right? And they should be bringing them in so they can look at their own workplace and their own offices first and foremost and see where they can bring in diversity and drive equity at the same time, right? And then also looking at your audience and your consumers and your customers. Where can we, who can we reach? Who haven't we reached? Who can we make feel valued and feel special? Right? Even if you just want their money at the end of the day, it's important. All of these factors are important. And I feel PG talks, walks, and breathes everything that the hobby needs as far as going to the next level. Um, Seeing PG on a screen made me stick to the hobby and keep on picking up that phone and wanting to collect and wanting to travel and wanting to be creative and add our own lane in the hobby. So shout out PG. Back to the show. I love this show. So um, what they're doing is they're creating a custom art card. They have three artists, right? They're not necessarily card artists, they're artists, right? Just like all most card artists aren't just card artists. These humans are artists. They do a lot. I'm gonna touch on card art too, man. I'm gonna touch on card art and man, yeah, I'm gonna touch on card art too. But they have three artists, and I love this show because not only is it relatable because PG is on here, right? And everything that I mentioned about him is relatable, but Keely, this young lady shares her story about her mother having cancer, right? And the struggles and obstacles she had to overcome with her family battling that, right? And losing her mother. And it's relatable. Man, I'm fortunate. I still have my mother in my life. You know what I mean? I know other people who have lost loved ones to cancer. I've lost loved ones to cancer and things like that. But to hear her story, makes it relatable. I don't care if Keely was purple. I don't care if she was green. I don't care if she was neon, yellow, blue, black, brown, white. It don't matter. That story is relatable, right? That feel is relatable. So regardless if I'm in, and they're making card art for one of the top high school upcoming talents, right? So um, for me, it doesn't matter if I relate to basketball, if I relate to card art, if I relate to cards, I relate to that girl's story. Or maybe I relate to the basketball, maybe I relate to the card art. I just love how on this show they were, and I let Overtime Sam know, and I let PG know too. Right after I watched the first episode, there'll be three more episodes coming out too about how I just like to. Oh, first of all, let them know how I like seeing PG on there. You know what I mean? That for sure glued me on. But then also just seeing the diversity on and off the court, the opportunities given to these young athletes for overtime, from overtime, at overtime. It's amazing. But Keely was amazing. This young guy, I loved his, I think it's Jonathan, I forgot his name. I loved his energy too, though, and his confidence and his swag. Uh, it was amazing. And then the guy who actually won, yeah, I guess the winner wins 10K each round. They go up. They pick a winner each round. See, there go moms. See, she told her story. You feel me? So look at what because look what's behind this though. I was having a conversation with somebody. It was PG. I was having a conversation on the phone with Prism God actually, and we were talking about. And we've actually, I'm gonna blend in together a few conversations that we've had, but just in our community, how sometimes in our Black and Brown communities, we feel as if sports entertainment are the only ways out or the quickest ways out of our situation or of a situation that we may be in, right? So for face value, you see an athlete right here, an amazing athlete, intelligent human being, kind, loving human being, right? And he's a basketball player. He's an amazing basketball player. And then we're talking about the artist Keely, who's going to create a card, right? So Keely doesn't play basketball. Maybe she did. She's not playing basketball right now. She's not on the show because she's playing basketball. She's on this show because she's an artist, right? And she cares about her art and her craft and her family and and her why. I like this show too because everybody has a why, and Overtime does a great job about being intentional about hearing the why and hearing people say the why and what that why feels like and what it means to them. But look at the camera guy there, right? Look at the camera guy. So for me, that's awesome. I wish when I was a kid, somebody told me, hey, you don't have to play the sport. You could take pictures of the athletes. To me, that would have been dope. Or you don't have to play the sport. You can design the jerseys the athletes wear. You don't have to play the sport. You can be behind the camera that's video recording the photographer and the athlete. You can be the director and the producer behind this whole show. You can be the makeup artist behind this whole show. You can be the designer. It's so much that the hobby opportunities in the hobby and in other markets as well too that we need to make sure our communities have access to and are aware of because it changes lives. It changes generational wealth and poverty and things like that and curses that prohibit and hinder a lot of communities that I'm familiar with. So I'm looking forward to getting back into the school year and watching shows like this with my my middle school students, and even probably some younger grades too, on rainy days when we're in the classroom, right? And we're using. I'm trying to use as many things as possible as bait to try and catch their attention, right? And when they see people that look like them, when they see people do it, for me, when I was this kid's age, I think this kid is 10th, 11th grade. When I was in 10th, 11th grade, Eddie Curry was in 10th, 11th grade. James White, Q Rich, D Miles. And we used to look up to guys. These are our peers. We the same age. And we used to look up to these guys. Like we used to think these dudes were the coolest dudes in the world. So there are some people who are going to feel the same way. There are majority of the class isn't going to care because they don't even like basketball. They don't even play basketball, but they're going to like the colors on that uniform. They're going to like the shoes he got on. They're going to like his hair. They're going to like the photographer. They're going to like the overtime gym and the lights. You know what I mean? It's going to be other things that attract them that I consider bait, that once that we know they're attracted to, that we should be able to take advantage and be intentional about teaching them life skills and giving them life skills and learning together. And we don't know everything. You know what I mean? I'm learning. This is a live impromptu YouTube. I'm learning with y'all as I go. You know what I mean? So, but this show was powerful for me. Episode 1, 10 out of 10. The moms is cool. Shout out moms. This dude's Nathan from Austin, ATX, my second home. My oldest son was born in Austin, Texas. He actually ended up winning this episode. Spoiler alert. Go ahead and watch it though. Still watch it. But this was relatable to me. I'm not an artist in the form of drawing. Now I am an artist because I make music and I consider music an art form. It is an art form, no matter if I consider it one or not. But not only is he an artist, right, but he's a father. And to be a part of this show, he had to leave his family at home. I don't think I've ever made a sacrifice like that. I've left my family to go on business trips, but man, just the sacrifice of having to work, even if you don't have kids of your own, it's pretty much safe to say that either your parents, grandparents, aunties, uncles, or guardians had to make some sacrifices for you yourself. So I'm pretty sure you can relate to a father or a mother having to do whatever it takes to provide for their family, chase their dreams at the same time, and want to be in two places at once. So that right there, before I found out Nathan had won and watched the entire episode, he was he had me in his corner. I was rooting for everybody, but Nathan had me in his corner. Shout out Overtime Sam. Shout out PG, man. I'm expecting episodes 2, 3, and 4 to be even spicier. I think it's gonna go down. It's gonna be spicier than before, for sure, for sure. Yeah, diversity in the card game, and it's happening thanks to people like PG, other gentlemen and women who've come before PG and who've laid the foundation down. But for me personally, the first person that I can identify and call out as somebody who I've seen model everything that the hobby should stand for is PG. Shout out Culture Collision, January 27th through the 29th, I believe, 26th through the 29th, 27th, 28th, 29th. Yeah, 2023. That is my new top bucket list card show that I want to make sure I'm at every year. Um, Prioritizing that. Card game needs diversity. We need to support each other. Everybody needs to support each other. I've supported several other card shows, and I have yet to support Culture Collision. So for me, that's not walking the talk, right? That's me just talking. I'm supporting everyone else but my own. So I want to make sure as I continue to support everyone else, we also are intentional about supporting those who are paved the way for us to be here. So shout out PG for show again, man. Wiz and Mike and everybody out there, man, all the homies for sure. What made me a fan for life is the way you treated my son. He loves you all. Thank you so much for that. Man, thank you. The way y'all treat us. Thank you. Thank you. And man, we ain't seen y'all, man. We miss y'all, man. Vegas was crazy. Vegas was fun. We love the relationships that we built in Vegas um, at that show. Shout out Louise. Shout out Louise over there for making it possible for the diversity to happen at that show, at that Mint Collective show. We haven't seen a show prior to or after that's been intentional about making sure it wasn't equitable, but about a little bit of diversity at least. You know what I mean? So it was a start. Definitely wasn't equitable, but it's a step in the right direction. We would love to see panels full of color and full of culture, so we can all learn. Right? It's a learning curve here that has to happen. Um, there's some ownership and accountability that has to happen from us all. And in order for that to happen, we have to learn from each other. And if we're not given these platforms, or if we don't create these platforms to teach and share, then we're not going to be able to learn. And it feels like for the last 150 years, for at least the last 40 years, these spaces have been left out on purpose. So shout out Louise for making it intentional for having a female host and also three black hosts, male hosts at the show. I would love to see that just multiply this next show that they're having in March of 2023, I believe. Would love to see that. Would love to see that. Yeah, Vegas was amazing. Vegas was amazing for sure, for sure. Let's see. Is this Sam right here? Yeah, man. So man, thank y'all for stopping by. We're gonna run this back again. This was just a short little. I wanted to make sure the people who stopped by at 10 to be here. I told Sam I'd hop in here and just make sure everybody was here, got some kind of content and substance in the interim. But we're gonna run this back again later on after we're done doing our family duties. So it'll be another impromptu spark up, start up. Sam's gonna bring in some cards and things like that. I'm gonna bring in some cards and things like that as well too, and we just gonna chill and make it do what it do and have some fun. Y'all, in the meantime, anybody who's on here or anybody who watches this, stop watching it right now. Go grab somebody in your home, tell them you love them, hug them, kiss them, If nobody's in your home, call somebody right now. Call them and tell them how much you wish you can hug them and kiss them on the cheek or the forehead. Let them know how much you love them and how much they're important to you. In that same breath, remember that you are important. You're important to your community and to your family. You're important to this universe, whether you know it or not. Thank you for your presence here on CardFaxx, and we gonna circle back in with y'all in probably a couple hours, a few hours. It was a few hours. All right, appreciate y'all. The love is always organic and genuine. Yee.